because this line snapped, I'm calling it an unforced error. Woohoo! Mouse line through.
All right, another day of project. What are you doing, Timothy?
Oil change.
We are on a mission to do a lot of provisioning to leave the U.S.
Absolutely.
Where is the water?
Not a bad little island here.
Saw some manatee. My day is made. Boat's gonna be heavy.
But enjoy!
It's gonna be in the water! If taking too long, I'll update you if I make any progress. Hey there.
I'm Kelsey, that's Tim, and this is the story of our adventure. Life is fleeting, and we want to squeeze every bit out of it. We are wandering the world, so home is a bit of a moving target for us. We love finding the random, the remote, and sharing it all with you. So subscribe to get lost with us and hopefully find some inspiration to go after your own dreams.
Welcome back! Back to a high energy one. As you can tell, it's pretty stormy here today.
We got some high winds for sure.
That's for sure. But before we jump into the episode, we got to address something.
Yeah, a lot of you commented on our last episode where we were in the squall that we did not have life jackets on, and you guys are absolutely correct. There's no excuse for not having life jackets.
We've been trying to put them on, of course, anytime that there's going to be rough weather. We know it. In that case, it caught us off guard, as well as going through that inlet caught us off guard, which is no excuse. But we didn't have comfortable life vests. They weren't very good. Some were just left on the boat from last time. So we reached out to Teamo, and they sent us some Offshore harnesses and life vests to try out. These are so much nicer, so much more comfortable. This is a style that I foresee us just leaving on anytime we're in any situation offshore.
So we'll do a whole video review on these so you guys can see all the features and everything, but we just wanted to let you know.
We're really excited, and thank you for calling us out on it. We've also got harnesses and jack lines they sent to properly set up the boat anytime we're offshore to make sure we're safe.
Yes.
So, enough of that.
Yeah, let's get you all caught up.
Let's get you caught up to here.
So last time we left you, we were in Cape Canaveral watching a rocket launch, and after that, we left to make maybe our final jump south.
Yep.
From New York.
So after getting out of the harbor and making some decent tracks south, we heard a loud bang. And that was our reef line snapping. It was pretty violent.
Yeah, kind of scary.
Yeah. Okay, show the end. Okay, is it nice and tight? Woohoo! Mouse line through. That's a good sign. Okay, we're through. Okay, so because this line snapped, I'm calling it an unforced error. We noticed when we've been running on the second reef for quite a while because our repair to the clue, one, we know we're getting new sails, so it was probably, we didn't put as much time into it. We were always fixing other stuff. But two, we didn't really trust the nylon webbing that we got. We couldn't be sure it had Dyneema in it. It was supposed to, but I don't think it does. And so we're worried that we spent all that time with an awl pushing through and making a new clue strap and it would rip out. So we've been running on the second reef for a while. That reef has a pulley up at the front here that holds the front part of the sail down, and at the back, you know, the reef back there, you know, has a block and it holds it down there. This one up here, if you tighten that reef too much, it will hit the boom. So it can hit that. So we think that it was tightened too much. I'll show you the block. And it was hitting. And the block is none too happy too. Look at that edge all beat up. And then it was cutting into the line while it was bashing in. So our fault. We saw it one time, we corrected it, moved the whole mainsail higher and then tightened the reefing line and we were good. And at some point we must have tightened it a little. I must have noticed a little play in the reef line and just tightened it a little and then tightened it right into that. And probably for several days now it's been smashing into it and we broke the line. So I'm gonna pull this mouse line through and hopefully we get the line we need up here.
All right, so it's too hard while everything's moving.
Yeah.
to get the rope through the right area. So now we're just gonna take the third reef and make it the second reef. That's the easiest way to do it.
Yep.
That's what Tim's working on.
Eventually.
We made it. We are finally in South Florida. It seems like it's been a while to get here, watching the weather with all the crazy hurricanes and stuff going on, but we are here, and that means that now it's time to prepare to leave. Really leave, guys. We are so excited, but we have a lot of work ahead of us. We have projects to complete. We got to go stock up on supplies and get sales. That's the biggest thing that we're waiting on. I think that we will have them very soon, and hopefully everything goes well and we can get them up. And then we're just waiting for a weather window to head to the Bahamas. So we cannot wait to get to the Bahamas, but we got a lot of work to do first. So we'll take you along for as much as we can, and then we'll definitely take you along as we head to the Bahamas, because that's the most exciting part. It's kind of boring doing all the projects and stocking up, but you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, so today's project is replacing the old faucet. So this is just like, I don't know if you can tell from here, but there's not much room to get under here when this is out. And then this does pull out, and then you hang it up here to use as a shower. But it's just kind of clunky, and I'd rather have it where it can be a faucet or a shower at the same time. So that's what we're going to do. Hopefully. We'll see. So we're going to pull everything apart, and then in this mess over here, we have a new faucet. So that's what's going to go there. We'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. All right, so we have hopefully most of the tools that we potentially need. Move this so I don't knock it over. They're actually pretty accessible down here. It's always a game of Tetris getting yourself into these places. Good news is it's mostly just rust, so I might not even have to unscrew it. It's just gonna break itself off. You can never grab all the right tools.
One eternity later.
All right, all of the tools that it took, the mess that is left in the sink, but got it out. I've re-caulked around the sink because it wasn't particularly good, and Tim ended up helping me because I don't think I have the part anymore. It was like half rusted off, and I could not get this thing off, so I was messing with it for like an hour, and then finally I took a break because I was getting too frustrated, and Tim was like, well, I'll go look at it. He ended up sawing all the bits off and got it out, but it was a little rusty and in there pretty good. So got it out, got it all cleaned up, and now I'm gonna put the new faucet in. Yay.
A few moments later.
Okay, the moment of truth. Yay, it works. And look at all that room there is in the sink now to get underneath here. And then I'm going to add a little thing that you can switch to be the water coming out as a faucet, or it will go up to a shower head. So, pretty happy with that. Just a little mess.
Day 2.
So, let me show you the finished product for the bathroom. It was a bit of a project to get that old sink out. It was rusted, and but very happy with how it turned out, and I actually did take a shower in here yesterday, so I'll show you what it looks like, the finished product. Let's see if we can get in here, get a good video. So this, if you just turn it, one way is faucet, and the other way is for the shower head, which makes it nice. You're not trying to pull that out, and it can just stay there. So I like it better personally. And yeah, yeah, that's it. So it turned out good. And then I also did a new sink faucet. The old one was very low. You couldn't pull it out. So this one has 2 different modes, like spray mode, and then you can also pull it out, which is really handy for the bigger items. And it swivels. Big upgrade. And then I'll show you the other bathroom because I also changed out the faucet. It's not that different, but I think it looks so much better and it's very handy. So there's that. There's that faucet. A good upgrade for sure. It makes showering so much nicer.
Tomorrow for sure.
All right, another day of project and getting ready to leave. What are you doing, Timothy?
Exciting stuff. Oil change. So when I do oil changes, I'll check the air filter. We did replace it last time, and it's not like you're off in the desert like we're used to, so I'm sure it's fine. I'll check belts, see if we need to replace them or at least change the tension and make sure they're going to work well for us. I'll check the impeller. I'll check the Raycor external fuel filter. And then if it's dirty, I'll check the internal one. Every time I've checked the internal one, it's pristine. And every time I've checked the external ones, they're pretty pristine. So I'm probably not going to check the engine side one just because I feel like if that one's dirty, might as well change the engine one too. But if that one's still completely clean, nothing's getting to the engine one. I think that's it. And then on the oil, I know this is a Yanmar, well, a lot of engines, but there's like a suction lock essentially where the dipstick reaches, the oil isn't necessarily filled into that area. So when I just pulled it, it looks like we're out of oil. Dry on one side, just a tip on the other. But then if you pull it out, see that, get scared for a second like I do every time, and then remember that it's a little bit of a vapor lock. Dump it back in, about midpoint where it should be, maybe a little taller. I'll try and fill it a little closer to full. But now you know everything's fine again. But it's just one of those things to remember when you're doing it, that if you check your oil and it looks low, check it one more time. And now that that lock has been released, it should be the more accurate reading. So we just...
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, and also if you've never done an oil change on a diesel engine, we learned this with our last truck, that is fine. That's normal how dirty that oil looks. With a gas vehicle, that would be concerning. But with this, not so much.
Yeah, you really got to get used to it, I think. I mean, if you're a diesel person from the get-go, you've never thought twice about it. But being a gasoline engine person most of my life, dirt bikes, trucks, etc., man, it took some getting used to.
You're
now,
like,
this is an extra soot black. We are, let me see, I'll have to look at the hour meter, but I know that we're past where I wanted to do it. Not way far past, not crazy, but I think every 100 hours we should be changing the oil is what I think. I don't know, comment how often you do it. That might be the Yanmar manufacturer recommended, and I think we're at 115 hours, so it's over. So we won't try and wait that long in the future, I think, but yeah, not grossly over. So yeah, it might be a little blacker than it would otherwise, but again, with a diesel, especially, this isn't a turbo diesel, but I noticed with a turbo diesel
Yeah.
cruiser, man, it would blacken it in, I don't know, 100 miles, and it would be pretty soot black. But that was an old, loose 30-year-old diesel. So yeah, time to start pumping. I'm going to keep using this for now. It's a little Japsco pump that you put on a drill. I really do think the pumping where you pump some air pressure into it and it goes out that way might just be more simple. This seemed more simple to me.
But it takes forever to start.
It takes forever to get the suction going, and then you feel like, gosh, I think I'm going to wear this little thing out. And if you did wear it out, you can't really change the oil. I mean, I think what I would end up doing is setting up something beneath it, and then I would have to drain it from the actual drain plug in the bottom, which is really hard to get to. So I didn't buy the big air pump thing because it looked like a big apparatus to keep on the boat just for oil changes, where that's small and it's easier. But I'll let you know. If this thing fails on us, believe me, I'll be letting you guys know. It is easy, but man, it takes forever because look at the volume of that hose, right?
Yeah.
So. I got all the oil out, and then I put in, maybe like, I don't know, half a quart of fresh oil. and then sucked it out. It was still black. So, you know, when you're sucking oil out of an engine versus a drain pan where you hopefully are getting every last drop out of the drain pan, you know, there's going to be some oil that you just can't reach. So I'm, of course, trying to get this pickup anywhere I can, as far down as I can, having it touch a wall and backing off a little so there's no suction on the end of it, or then I'm not going to be able to get oil. But then there's obviously some cavity somewhere I'm not getting all of it. So I added probably half a quart in, sucked it out, still jet black, put another half a quart in, sucked it out, and now it's starting to look amber, like it's mostly new oil coming out. So I'll stop. But I do that just because, I don't know, I want it to give as close to 100% oil change as I can. I do think that as long as we're under the 100 hours, I'm not going to do this each time. You know, if every time we do it, it's only 90% or 85% of the oil, that's still refreshing most of it. But since we went over and we're still in a place where it's really easy to get inexpensive diesel oil plentifully and get rid of it easily with all the auto parts stores, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this on the other engine as well, because why not? And maybe also when you go over, you feel like you're being nice to the engine, as if the engine knows that you're like, you know, doing that extra little bit for it, and then it won't let you down in rough seas.
He knows.
Yes. Okay. So I think I've got it all out. We'll go ahead and start adding oil, but I need to get that oil filter off, so I'm going to get an oil filter wrench.
And by get that wrench, he means I will get that wrench because he's in there. I'm the tool getter.
Okay, new filter, please. Getting there. Right about where the oil change was on the last one. But I don't fill the filters on these because it's side mount, so I just don't oil everywhere. So I'm always trying to take that into account. So I want it to be basically on the full, and then once we run it and it fills the filter up, it should be 3/4 or so. Our filter looks brand new, as you'd expect, since we didn't exactly go through any silt beds or anything. I am going to rotate it though, because obviously where it's sucking in air, that's going to have the most anything hitting it. It does look good. It's slightly darker where the inlet touches right on the side of it there. But other than rotating it a tiny bit to give it a fresh
area
bit, yeah, looks good. So it's the exact opposite of off-roading. We shouldn't need to replace this
yeah.
very often.
There shouldn't be a whole lot of dust.
You would hope, right? Okay, I just got to clean up a few drips from taking this off the side. Belt tensions all look really good, and everything else is tight. We are showing right just below the full line, and so once we start it and run it, I'll check it again, of course, but I'm going to guess that'll put us at like 3/4 or something once we fill up the oil filter, because that's not, obviously it's not a huge volume, it's a small oil filter. But I think we're all good. This is the clean engine, so this is the fun one to work on. It's not that great space-wise, actually. The other one, there's storage here, so you don't have a big area to sit next to it, but it's a lot cleaner, so I enjoy working on this one.
All right.
Any gloves?
Engine number 2.
Engine number 2. Ooh. Will you glove me?
I will love you.
Thank you. And even though I just mentioned it to the camera on the other engine, something about pulling a dipstick out and seeing nothing on it, it's terrifying every time. And I know, I just talked about it, but your heart kind of goes, huh? And then you're like, dummy, yeah, check it again. And we were good. It was just below full. So let's see. So we'll try and go for that same amount. That's now clean. And then I've been enjoying using clear containers because I can see that this is still flowing. Because if it's not, then maybe the suction side is up against the case in there, and I could burn out the little pump, which I don't really want to do. Gotta just put on a new filter, then we'd start pouring in some oil. Everything looked good. Didn't use any oil, so that's good.
And that one battery lasted the whole time, pulling out all the oil.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's one of the new El Cheapo batteries from Amazon, so it's doing pretty good. Several more amp hours.
Extra big.
Yeah. I always just put some oil on it. Makes you feel good, if nothing else, right? About halfway.
Day 3.
We just left Goose, and we're gonna wait till we're at the bridge. We'll slow down, and you'll still be there. Okay, now we're in a no wake zone, so you can hear me a little bit better. But we just left Goose. We are on a mission to do a lot of provisioning to leave the U.S. So we're gonna do like Costco, and I don't know what else. We have a long list of things to do. So we'll see how much we get done today, but we'll take you with us.
Off to run errands.
All right, left the dinghy back there. This is the public dock. So next up is getting a vehicle. Tim has trash. We have lots of bags. Wish us luck. On to Costco we go.
Woohoo! My favorite place in the whole world. Here's where.
Biggest Costco run in your life?
Absolutely. Our guesses are, and I hope it's only this much, like $1,500. I don't know, it's gonna be a lot. I mean, some of this stuff will last us a long time. Like this is 2 oil changes worth for both engines. But
Do you have your card up there?
well, that worked out to being expensive, but $500 less than we thought it was. So right about $1,000.
Yeah. And side note, doing errands from a boat is not easy.
Everything is so difficult. Just going to get a rental car, finding a place that you can legally leave your dinghy.
Yeah, so you get in the dinghy
Yep.
from the boat to a public dock in this case, where you hope that the dinghy will still be there when you get back.
Yes.
You Uber to the rental car place.
Yep.
From the rental car to Costco,
Yep.
where Costco is chaos, and you load up for us 2 carts
Yeah.
full of food.
Yeah.
And then you unload that into the car, a workout in itself.
Yes.
Then we took the car and did a few other errands.
Yes.
And then you go back to the dock,
Yep. Unload the car.
1 load, which that dock, by the way, was so long.
That was ridiculous.
It was the hardest load of stuff.
Stewart is a lovely town, but that public boat dock where you're allowed to dock, it's probably just under 100 yards. And so adding 100 yards and carrying propane tanks and the rest of it to the dinghy,
yeah.
you realized, oh man, I wish we could pull the rental car like a
Right
boat
up.
launch right up to the dinghy. So yeah, we did many trips back and forth.
Yeah, so you got in the dinghy with the first load of Costco stuff.
Yeah.
I took the rental car down to another dock that
Yes.
you couldn't leave the dinghy
No.
at, but it was easier to load the dinghy and
Much closer to our boat.
to the boat.
So after I dropped off my load, I went and picked up the second one, her, and we left the rental car in the parking lot of that boat launch, where
Where
you're
we-
not allowed to leave your dinghy, but you can leave a car. As you can see, it's all very convoluted and complex.
Yes, not easy.
No.
And a workout. All right, well, how do you feel about today's mission?
This Nick is a workhorse. This is the second load. This is definitely the heaviest load. But yeah, he's just taking it all in stride, thankfully. Just got to make it back to the boat without sinking. Yeah, mighty little Thurso.
I had to move all the way up here because Nick can't quite get on a plane. We're so heavy. That's the first time ever. He's doing it. He's doing it.
The white whale.
Woo!
Look, your little buddy. Sorry for all the abuse. All right, we can back out of full throttle now.
So now we're back at the boat, but that is not the end of our fun workout for the day.
Yes, how many trips do you think it takes to get from the dinghy and all those groceries down into the boat and put away?
Yeah, and of course the dinghy is moving and it's hard, so we take it. Tim usually hands it to me on the swim step. Then
Yep.
I make a pile until it's too big. Then I move it into the cockpit,
Then-
and we make a line doing
Eventually
that.
she'll go down to the kitchen and then I'll be bringing her things up to the top of the stairway. Both of us are unboxing everything, getting rid of cardboard, not only because cockroaches and other animals like to eat cardboard and lay eggs in it, but also just to make space on the boat. You get rid of all that packing material.
So much trash.
And then you can tuck things in all the holds within the boat.
Which
and now
I
you've
write
got a
down.
pile of cardboard to get rid of.
Yeah, I write down where everything goes because otherwise I'll never find anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff from Costco, because it's bulk, we break down. Like the meat, we repackage ourselves
Yep.
into smaller portions before we freeze it. It is a lot of work. I'll just
Absolutely.
say that.
So we got it done. The biggest provisioning run of our lives
We've
thus far.
ever done, yeah. I did have time though, I have to say. We got a little Christmas tree for the boat, so I had time to put that up because it was very festive. And I also had to try on my new wetsuit, which I had gotten in the mail that day. I had bought it used, but it was new. The person who I bought it from had never used it. But I couldn't wait to try it on and get in the water because now we're finally somewhere where we can be in the water.
Yes.
New wetsuit.
It's a little small.
It's a little bit tight. It took a little bit of time and effort, but enjoy.
It's so warm though.
Yeah, and you're so buoyant too, huh?
I don't even have to swim.
Gonna need more weights to be able to sink when diving. You may have gotten a large child size, but that's all right.
I may have been cheap and tried to get
Off of what site?
Poshmark.
Poshmark.
It's a new used. Not the right size though.
Hey, it fits right now. If you never get it on again, it currently fits.
I never get it off.
True.
But it sure feels good to be in the water. Bye-bye.
So now finally we were in a place where the water was clean enough that we could actually see the underside of the boat to clean it.
Good morning. We are finally in nice, clear water, although there's a bunch of stuff floating by right now, so it doesn't look as clear as it actually is. But that means it's time to clean the bottom, and I've squeezed into my wetsuit that is too small for me, but it was very inexpensive, so I don't actually think we need wetsuits because it's probably not that cold, but I wanted to try it out. So yeah, we're just gonna jump in and clean the bottom, see how bad it is. All right, we are in the water, and it actually feels good to have a wetsuit now.
Yeah, it's nice to have these. This is the most important feat. The water's pretty warm. We don't need the wetsuits, but these are really nice. And then a selection of scrapers. So we really, I probably was at it for 2.5 hours yesterday, and we still have a couple hours to go. It's the worst I've ever seen it. We just couldn't get in the water as often as I'd like. So now that it's warmer and a little bit clear, it's not super clear, we're just scraping like crazy. So I hope once we get this layer down and then use like a Scotch-Brite pad to rough it up a little.
Keep up on it, yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll get a fresh layer though of the metals in the paint. But of course, when you first put the boat in the water, some of those metals and whatever are sealed in. So we're trying to expose those to deter growth. But this is probably the worst area from what we've heard for growth anywhere. So the Bahamas will be really nice. So back at it.
So floaty. I have weights on it. I don't have to. I can just float. I need more weight. Even though we had a lot to accomplish before we left, it wasn't all work. We did manage to have some fun. So this morning, it's actually project day for sure as we get ready to leave. But first, we're gonna go for a little paddle because it's too nice not to.
Get it all on camera. You got this. Yeah.
It's so pretty out this morning. It is so calm. And there's a sandbar here, so as you're going over, you can see the little starfish and everything underneath. Just so nice and chill right now. Very pretty.
Not a bad little island here. It's funny, most of the days the wind and the current have been so strong we haven't really explored this direction. When the wind's pushing you this way, you don't want to go downwind and have to fight back. Yeah. Very choppy. You go in that little cove over there.
I gotta say it's pretty cool to be able to just like sit here and you have like a view of the water and everything, and it's just so chill and relaxing just to like sit and paddle. Own personal, right now it feels like a jungle cruise because we're in these mangroves. Fish jumping, birds flying. See? Maybe a manatee. Dolphins or a manatee. That'd be pretty cool. Pretty awesome.
What's that?
A conch shell with a conch in it. My first live conch.
Yeah,
Inside there, can you see?
there he is. He's got some crab friends living in there with him.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'm gonna let him be, but cool find. I didn't get good video of it, but we saw some manatees. That was so cool. They're so big. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. So my day is made. All right, we just got back from the paddleboard. Well, not just, we actually ate some lunch, but now the wind came up. So our paddleboard session was perfect. We had glass the whole time, and literally you could see like the ripples coming in towards us, and then the wind hit. And it's not super windy, but it was really nice to not have any wind for that paddle session. That was awesome. So now it's time to get to work. Okay, so first project is an easy one. On the decks here, it'll be hard for you to see this. I'll do some B-roll of it, but just by that hatch, there's something. I don't know what it is, but first project, take it off. Okay, so this is our little stained area. This is what the white knight looks like, and this whole thing goes a really long way. Like, I did all the bottom water line when we had the boat hauled out, and there's still, I don't know, probably that much in there. So it goes a long way. So much easier than sitting here scrubbing, trying to get into the little non-skid. This is just like instantly gone. I picked an easy project first. So, one job done. I have a few little stains while I have this out around the boat, so I'll do a couple more, get rid of all those stains, and yeah, then we're good. We can clean the boat and no stains will be left behind. Pretty awesome. Okay, so our old fridge, it leaks when you defrost it, and I think they just let it leak often before we were on it, and there's these rust stains just coming down the countertop. I cannot get them off no matter how hard I scrub, so let's see if the white knight fixes it. This is what it looks like. It's like a, I don't know if you can see in there, it's like a blue goo. So crazy to just watch it disappear right before your eyes. And just like that, it's gone. It's so cool. Alright, so we gave up on trying to run that little feeder line through the mast while we were sailing, because we really didn't need it. We just rehooked up halyards to that reef. But I still need to figure out how to get that line through there to the right spot, because it broke just below the mast, and then now it broke inside the mast basically. So I can't use that line to pull a new line through, so I have to run some kind of line through so that I can then put a new line through there. So it shouldn't be too hard, but it was hard when everything was moving, and yeah, we could have done it, I'm sure, but no need to make things harder on ourselves. I cannot wait till we get new sails. This sail bag is so awful. It keeps scooting forward no matter how much I fix it towards the back, and it's been tied a million times because it's just falling apart. So that'll be a very nice upgrade visually. But let's see if we can get this line run through here. Okay, so we got it here, but we used one of the ropes that goes through the boom, and it's on the wrong side. So now we just have to get it to the right side.
Pull this pin out right here.
Perhaps.
And get a little more room.
Okay, so made a little hook, and we'll see if I can grab this. Shall be a challenge, I think. So now it's on the correct side of the boom. I just have to get it up, and there's like a middle shelf in there, which is really annoying. So my theory, if this will fit. Okay, this is taking too long. I'll update you if I make any progress. We did it. A little help from Tim. We were able to remove this pin just a little bit, and I fished it onto the other side and up, but we got it in the right spot. So now that all we have to do is attach a line to that to run through the mast. Boom. This is the mast, that's the boom.
Putting on some Loctite.
All right, last project of the day. We kind of accidentally started it without you guys, but we're putting a little lip. I actually got this stuff for the side hatches to put above them because newer sea winds have it and ours does not, and they do, if it's like really raining really hard, they leak a little bit. So I think this will help, but I have a lot of it.
When it's like in the tropics, even here when it's raining a whole lot, there's just the little window frame, right? It's that tall. And so the water hits it. If it's light rain, it goes around like you'd hope. And if it's heavy rain, hits it, comes right inside. Yeah. So you cannot have these windows open at all. This, I think, would prevent quite
it just dripping in at least,
Yeah.
So we just put this side.
Yeah, here, I'll show you a piece of the stuff you can.
Yeah. So we're gonna do the other side.
Decision between aesthetically making.
I know. I probably should have gone a little bit lower on the other side, but that's okay. I think it'll help.
Yeah, I think it'll help regardless.
If not, we pull it right up.
Several days later.
All right. Good morning. This morning, it's finally not as windy as it has been. The last couple days have been pretty breezy, and today we decided we're gonna go to a fuel dock nearby, fill up everything, including the water tanks, because we haven't wanted to run the water maker in this little inlet in here because it's just not the cleanest. So we're gonna do all of that this morning, and then theoretically, once our sails arrive, we are ready to go. So that's exciting. Just one more step towards leaving the U.S. Woo. Filling gas.
Yeah.
Got everything out. And water. Every time we fill up the tank like this, it amazes me how much water goes in. Like, it has been going for a good 10-15 minutes and it's only half full. So, boat's gonna be heavy.
Oh yeah. Full everything.
1 hour later.
Okay, we filled up the water tank to the brim. We filled up the diesel tanks to the brim. And we have a couple of gasoline cans, a couple of diesel cans, a couple of water cans. Everything's full. So the boat is as heavy as it gets for us anyways. But when we're filling this port side tank, the breather must be clogged. That side, you can hear the air coming out this breather, and I'll show you the breather in just a second. But this side, you hear nothing, and then every time we fill it up, as soon as you can hear that the tank is getting fairly full, you stop, and then all of a sudden a rush of sort of pressure that's been building up comes out. So I try to release that pressure as we're filling it, but every time there's always a little bit at the end, and it puts out, if you do it sort of correctly, it's only a small amount of diesel that comes out. But either way, we're losing some diesel out of this, and I hate to, at the docks, cause diesel to go in the water where manatees and everything are, not to mention the mess. So I'm gonna try and snake out the breather. Breather is actually pretty slick looking. So it's actually inside this stanchion. So it's kind of a neat part that it goes down in there. And then this, on the other side, you can hear air escaping as you're displacing the air with diesel. This side, nothing. So somewhere this is clogged. So we're gonna start with this to see if we can snake it out up here. And if not, then what I might do is pull it off on the tank side of it, and we'll look there for any clogs. And if I could just blow a little air through it, we should be good. It's quite a bit of junk already, so that's a good sign. See if I can force some air blowing into there. Little diesel taste. So that's still very much plugged. So it could be inside this stanchion, But I'm wondering if we go down to the tank, if we can blow air this way, cause something to pop out. So we'll do it one more time just for good measure. It was dirty, but I don't think it was clogged. We're getting a bunch of this dust out of there, but I think that's just dried diesel. Diesel ends up being like the consistency of olive oil, and then it just gets thicker as it dries out. So I'm guessing that just years of collecting salt, dust, and dirt in here has caused it probably to clog that way. So we'll see if on the tank side we can figure something out. Okay. Okay, so one of those two is going to be breather. Tank, you can see, is pretty full, so we have to be careful if we pull any of those off. Okay, so here's the idea. Sorry about this line in the way. Boom preventer here so we can get plenty of solar. This breather, right now the tank is so full, if I take off any of the breathers, as the boat rocks slightly, I'm just going to dump diesel into the bilge, so I don't want to do that. This is one of our dinghy pumps, comes with different attachments. This should fit in here, push a little pressure, but I have to be careful. I don't want to blow a bunch of pressure in, blow a line off. So I'm going to open the fill cap, and I should be able to hear bubbles. If this is actually traveling down into the tank, the air escaping should come right up this tube. So I guess we'll see how plugged it really is. You can actually hear it sloshing down in there. Try this one first. I can hear some bubbles, so there is some air traveling. Let's try a different attachment that might seal better. Okay, that seals a bit better, I think. Hear bubbles, so. Good news is, air is traveling now. So, did we make an improvement, or is it just restricted somewhere deep down in it? I don't know. But it really seemed like zero air was coming out. So you're pushing such a volume of diesel in, you should always be able to hear the air escaping that you're displacing. So I'm going to call it an improvement. The snaking and then just blowing backwards. It didn't hear bubbles immediately, so maybe there was just some dried up diesel gunk. Now it's, of course, in the tank, but we have so much filtration, the external and internal filters, that I'm not too worried about it. And we just put in some of the biocide right after we filled up. So I've been really on top of doing that, just knowing this boat sat for 4 years without being touched with half full, or no, quarter full tanks at the most, I think. You know, it's a perfect environment for the biocide to, or the diesel bug to grow. We didn't see any. We've yet to see any black sludge in filters, tanks, lines, anything. So we may have just gotten lucky, but I tend to want to give it, gosh, probably a year from now, if we still have no black sludge anywhere, running the tanks to empty a few times, and we still don't get any, I'll believe we don't have it. I am kind of optimistically hoping that because we had Australian diesel, I think they have a problem with it there too. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Comment below if Australia somehow has cleaner diesel, or at least diesel bug-free diesel. But maybe we just got lucky in that sense. Or maybe they put some biocide stuff in it before it sat for all those years. I just kind of doubt that because the owner has not been around this boat. It would have been the shipping company, and I just don't picture the shipping company or the broker who is trying to sell it going out of their way to put a biocide into the tanks. But whatever the case is, I feel like we kind of dodged a bullet on that. So hopefully the next time we fill up, I'll hear it coming out of here. Definitely air was coming. You could hear the bubbles. So let's call it a win and move on to the next project. All right, next mini project for the day. There on a block is what is that a sheave? Is it a wheel? There's what the sheave, the wheel, the thing on a block is supposed to look like. Nice and smooth, no abrasive edges, shouldn't cut your line. There's a good one. That was actually on the back part of our, let's see, that would have been the back part of our first reef, which is off because that line snapped on us. Why did it snap? Well, look at that one. So this block is mangled. I'm gonna try and sand it, and I still think in a pinch, as long as you're loading it pretty flat, it could be okay, but I gotta get rid of all these sharp edges. They're literally like a knife edge there. And then this is actually a backwards edge sticking into where the line would go. And I think too, this is made, you can tell, like a certain radius. If I used, let's say 8mm line, this one would probably be usable on that. The wider line is going to hit these edges and cut it over time. But yeah, we killed this one. So that brings me to today's project. We're going to order a couple of these, but they're 120 bucks a piece. So I do want to see if I can save this as a beat up spare to use only in emergencies. On the boat, several Lumar 60s. This is a Lumar, well, I'll show you the good one, Lumar 72mm. So obviously the size of it has to do with the line size, but also how much load it can handle. So we don't want to start putting 60s in places where you need a 72. But when I look at the base of the mast, they have 72s running very low weight, low duty lines, like the line that opens the trifold doors, right? That's very little load on it because you open the door, you secure it with the release here, and then we take the load off the line and just keep it snug. So there's zero load really on everything, unless the door were to fall out of the safety catch. And even then, it's not that much of a load. So I'm going to use 60s on lines that I know are smaller diameter, but also lower load. That will free up more 72s to replace ones that I've beat up. So that's the project. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. You can see 72s all the way across and an open one here. That's actually for the reefing line. This only holds open the door. That I'm going to put a 60 on.
Meanwhile,
It's funny, I've never heard this before, but where we're anchored right now, they're conducting only a test, but there's like speakers going off from like all around us and a lady going, "This is only a test."
Feels like out of a movie.
Yeah,
so.
you feel like you're in like some weird otherworldly thing.
But what do you think? It's got to be hurricane or something.
Yeah, that's what I think. They should tell you what the test is for, so you know.
Right. This is a test.
If it's not a test, what is this for?
Right? Yeah.
And what do I do if this is not a test?
See, Germans are coming.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get a feel for it, probably not on the camera, but it's funny because it's like surround sound coming from everywhere.
Okay, so now we have a spare beat up one. I'm gonna take a file and just try and make it prettier, so in a pinch I know that I would not have time to mess with fixing it. This one actually needs to be used up on the sail. This is now one to replace this beat up one over here, because you don't need a 72. Working load limit on these is over 4,000 pounds, or let's see, that's in Bald Eagle. In international, everyone in the world, 2,000 kilograms. These are 1,100 kilograms, so really is about half the load. But for the door, I think that's more than enough. All right, moving on to the next project. So that gives you an idea of just a few of the projects we've been trying to take care of on the boat. There's a list like that every week, and it's really hard to film all of them.
Yes, but any day that you end on the water, maybe with a sundowner in hand and a good sunset, it's not that bad.
Agreed. What are you thankful for?
I can't believe that we get to live on this boat. Like, it's so crazy. Sometimes it gets overwhelming with the amount of projects that we have and everything that we're trying to accomplish and do. But then you just lay here and you're on the water, and it's incredible that we get to be here right now. And that hits me pretty often, actually. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
agree.
takes you right back to the moment.
And that does it for this episode.
Yes, you are officially all caught up to right here, right now, where it is very windy.
Where I'm hitting refresh on the tracking information for our sails again and again and again. And we can't wait to get our last few items before we head off.
Yep, so thank you guys for watching, and join us next week for we don't know what yet. Anything could happen.
See you then.
Bye. What was your plan there?
Ramming speed.
Ramming speed.
Leaf now.
Oh, hey, little guy.
He's just walking along until I picked him up.
And then you ruined his life. Okay, now do influencing. Is that what you...
influence. Oh, you're copying my influence?
Yeah, why you talk?
I've influenced
I
you.
learned from the best.
You look like you're pooping. Are you pooping?
This isn't even that rough, but it's rough for this boat.
Editor, whoever you are.
Whoever you might be, I don't know. Could be anybody.